So thanks very much, everybody, for showing up, and for everybody that's online and tuning in. My name is Gerard Curtis. I teach here visual culture and art history, but I initially trained as a studio artist. So I have a studio background, and prior to that, I was doing medicine. So I'm the reverse route for most people. Everybody says, don't go into the fine arts, go into medicine and law. I was in medicine, and I came into fine arts. And nobody told me there was jobs in fine arts, of course, because like many of you have found, people will tell you there's no career in the fine arts. And I'm here to talk about that, how wrong people are. And I don't want to hit on guidance advisors specifically, but you'll have parents, friends, relations who all tell you don't go into the fine arts or visual arts or theater because you never have a career. And the reason for that, I put this up, careers in the fine arts, why we shouldn't trust Vincent van Gogh. You can call him Vincent van Gogh, or you can call him Vincent van Gogh. Or why some career advisors are wrong when they advise you not to go into the fine arts. I'm going to just sort of cover some of the problems with that. So a number of you most likely know this movie, this series, the X-Men. Everybody basically know the X-Men series. So what would this series have to do with the visual arts and careers? And if you've seen the very first movie, you may have remembered a scene where Wolverine goes around the Statue of Liberty and cuts off the tip of the Statue of Liberty. Well, that was two of our graduates that designed that scene from this program here. So they did the initial design work for the Statue of Liberty, Clint Green and Darren Cranford. They both have BFAs in visual arts. They have their own company, Keyframe, in Ontario. They do gaming design, film, TV, computer animation, children's TV. This is their studio, which is really nice, a beautiful setup. It's a nice place to work. And Darren, when he's talked about the visual arts and his company and all the work that they do, has said that he would prefer to hire visual arts students over computer graphics designers due to the creativity visual arts students have. He says it's easier to teach a visual arts student how to use a computer program than it is to take a graphic designer and teach them creativity. I think that sort of gets the hallmark of where our careers and what our choices are. If you come here, there's no job guarantees, but you come here with the idea that you're going to explore your creativity and your talents, and then you apply them to a variety of areas. So I'll just talk about a few of those areas where we should go. So why do we get this sort of, why do we get worried about going into the fine arts? Well, we can thank these two individuals largely. It's Van Gogh on the left, and it's the myth. Many non-VA people still believe that we won't get jobs with our degrees, that we'll end up a starving artist like Vincent van Gogh. He wasn't a starving artist. He never did cut off his ear. He only cut off a tiny little piece of the lobe. So, all these myths get perpetuated. Or Courbet, he portrayed himself as this mad, starving genius. And that sort of has become the mythology that a lot of people still think about the arts to this day. So that's not the truth. The fact is there's lots of careers in fine arts. You've got architects, art therapists, street artists, stylists, animators, curators, and this list here just goes on and on and on about all the career choices you have. So we take some of our students who come out of the program. I don't know if any of you have been to St. John's, and you've seen the Y there, but we have 3 of our students who are architects at the moment. So they've come out, they've gotten a BFA, they went straight into architectural school, and Richard, one of our students from a number of years ago, he designed the Y. This is his building that he designed in St. John's. So it's a beautiful building. It's won a number of awards. So that's just one of the career choices a number of our students make. A couple of little questions as well as they go along, because a lot of people don't tend to think about these careers. Who is one of the most famous living architects in the world? Frank Gehry. He actually lives in America. He got American citizenship later on, but he comes back to Canada all the time. And this is one of his buildings. These beautiful, almost like folded paper buildings that he makes. Deconstructivist architecture. And he is probably the most famous architect in the world. And again, as Canadians, we don't often praise our heroes as people who go into these fields and who show us the career routes that we can have. So, lots of choices. You can go back video game design to fashion. You can even be a specialist who picks the latest trends in color for the automobile industry. That is a career in and of itself. And when people tell you about their pickup trucks, right, and the colors of their pickup trucks, what they often don't know is the color of that pickup truck is chosen on the fashion runways of Paris each year, where the latest hot colors and trends come out. So they're driving around this macho pickup truck thinking about all the colors and everything else, and it actually comes from haute couture designers, a lot of the color choices that appear in these trucks. And there is a whole field for visual arts graduates working as color specialists, just looking at what are the latest trends in color. Our students work in a variety of areas. Some of them work on television. Mark O'Neill here, who's just had his first film at Cannes, in fact, and just got an award for that. He started out as a photographer on this program. He works cameras, and now he's a director and doing his own films. And then Fred Martin, who comes out of Stephenville, just south of here, he works on Trailer Park Boys when that series was running. I should perhaps ignore some of the other items that are in that picture, but that's just two of our students and where they're going. Another area that you can go into is areas like industrial design. So, this is just an image of a really advanced technological bike that I really like. That's done by a designer, but one of our students does industrial design and design work, graphic design work. Susie Randall, who is also our educator, and these are some of her snowboard designs that are being produced here in the province. So that's another choice, another area of career that you can go into. There are Grenfell BFAs working as art curators and specialists at the rooms in St. John's. Bev King, who's an amazing art therapist, is helping those with disabilities and other needs via the arts. And then, in fact, most of the art teachers in this province are, in fact, Grenfell graduates. So they come here, they do their BFA, they go on for a year and a half or a year to get their education degree, and they end up as art educators in the province working in the school system. So there's a variety. I don't know if I don't know if she wants to go in.
She does want to come in.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh. My name is Renata. This is Renata. She teaches. Right. So, and that's Karen Channing, and she's a really well-known art educator in St. John's. I couldn't find a picture of Bev, so I've just put up an image of art therapy being done. And a number of our students do art therapy. They go on for a master's degree afterwards, using art in that way. Now, there are some of our students are traditional artists, painters, like the St. John's-based painter Grant Boland, and he makes his living as an independent artist, as a painter. And his work sell for multi-thousands of dollars, $5,000 to $8,000 for painting like this, single painting. So that's how he makes his career. So even in traditional areas of the fine arts, there are people making their livelihood by this. Tessa May, who lives just up the coast, is doing the same thing. These are some of her paintings and prints. Unfortunately, not the best reproductions. Others go into areas that we don't tend to think of a lot of the time. RNC officers. We have 3 RNC officers in this province who are BFA grads. And Claire, who's a great person, she's the RNC's reconstruction specialist. So you've probably seen this in shows like CSI. Well, this is where your art skills come in, right? The ability to sculpt, to model clay, and to reconstruct faces from skulls that may be found. So again, a lot of career counselors, a lot of parents, a lot of friends don't tend to think of these career choices that you can have as a visual artist. Others combine their art interest with other careers after they graduate. So Alison Steplis, here on the left, is an RNC officer as well, but she's also one of the top bodybuilders in the province. And when she was a student here, she was working with the performative nature of the body and developing that idea of kinesiology. And she's become sort of a cosplayer, performance artist and bodybuilder. Jerry Lynn Mackie, who's called the Lizard Queen. You may hear her on the radio. She's on K-Rock. She's a performance artist as well, and she'll often appear on the streets in this Canada garb with her tuba with moose horns attached to her head, doing these odd performances all of a sudden. But that skill set led her into DJing and has led her to a career in the radio business as well. And then Lauren Duffy, who just graduated a couple of years ago, she took her interest in anatomy from drawing, and she's a medical doctor. She went straight from her BFA into the med program. She didn't have to do a science degree. She didn't have to do a physics degree. She didn't have to do anything else. She used her BFA to go straight into medicine. And she's the reverse of me. So I did medicine, came out of it, came into art. She's doing art, and she's going into medicine with that as well. So there's lots of career choices and variety here. Paul Tucker has done as a graphic novelist operating out of St. John's. He's fairly well known. He's now operating with graphic magazines and comics out of the U.S., out of San Francisco with the Stable House. And this one is a prize student, Tammy Hughes. She's the first First Nations Rhodes Scholar in Canada. The Rhodes Scholar is one of the world's most exclusive scholarships. They pay, you go to Rhodes House in Oxford, you get a butler to look after you. It's pretty extreme. She's just doing her PhD in Oxford now. All of that was paid for. And she's now head of the first director ever of the Indigenous Cultural Center at Oxford University, about 29 years old. So she's like an academic. She's like a hot talent. And again, came out with the BFA stream with a focus on art history. That's where she really wanted to go. Some of you may have run into Alex Knoll. His BFA Grenfell just graduated as an artist a couple of years ago from Grenfell and is a noted, well-known throughout the province, human rights activist, student rights, and transgender rights activist. So people go into a variety of different fields, and they take that creativity and talents they develop from the BFA, because it's 4 years of exploring yourself. And it's very rare nowadays that we get that chance in society to explore and use your creativity and imagination in a way to further what you want to be, where you want to go, rather than people telling you now you got to get out at 18 or 19 and get a job right away. This is a chance to do something else. So the visual arts can lead you in many directions. It opens up creativity, it allows your imagination to roam free while developing real-world technical skill sets that you'll get here in areas like digital art, print, sculpture, design, textile, photography, visual cultural studies, ceramics, welding, painting, video art, performance, and multimedia, mixed media. And I could go on and on, right? Architecture there as well. And our degree gives you 4 years of self-exploration and discovery, something that's often dismissed in this rapid-paced world. Plus, there are jobs. So your job, after you come out of here, is to challenge that notion that you're not going to have a career. Whether it be your career advisor, I don't want to say you should challenge your parents, right? But question, point out the options and tell them that there are a lot of choices with having a BFA degree. And people still will tell you, you'll never get work. We need to show them that in the digital economy, the cultural economy, the TV and film business, the gaming industry, education, forensic reconstruction, academia, medicine, architecture, I love lists, right? Art galleries, graphic novels, in fact, hundreds of jobs. The visual arts provide the mechanism towards a creative life and a fulfilling career. So one of the most famous young artists in Canada at the moment is a graduate of this program, a guy called Jordan Bennett. Mi'kmaq from Stephenville, The Crossing. He's hot. He has shows all over. He has international shows going on, shows at the Vancouver Art Gallery. He's done work like where he's beaded these trainers, and he does extended performance work with these. He's taken his old skateboards and he re-drills and turns them into snowshoes. That's a sort of commentary about the nature of his First Nations culture and heritage. So, just a question, because when people tell you, oh, all the artists are starving, nobody's making money. What do you think? How much is the world's wealthiest living artist worth? You want to hazard a guess? Million? 10 million? 100 million? C? 100 million? Anybody else? Andrew?
I'm going to go with D.
You're going to go with D? Anybody else?
I'd say D too.
D? I lied. You're all wrong. Damien Hirst estimated $500 million to $1 billion. And he's about 49 years old. And he's not the only one. There are about 10 living artists doing fine arts, high-end fine arts, who are worth about $100 million each. So when people say they're starving artists, now that shouldn't be the reason you go to fine arts, right? You shouldn't go in and say, I'm going to be a billionaire at the end of this. That's your only drive and ambition, go into business or maybe law. But it proves the point. Not all artists are starving artists. And it's significant, the work that we do, and its value. So, most of you know, are fans of Lord of the Rings. Everybody know Lord of the Rings? This character here is Gollum, right? You know The Matrix, or Pirates of the Caribbean? All those jokes? The Grenfell graduate who designed those. Jonathan Clowder, there he is with Johnny Depp, shown here, worked at all three of them, including helping design the digital tech to make Gollum work the way he does. The holographic 3D skull logo for Pirates as well, and worked on the Matrix. So at the bottom I say there, now go tell that to the people offering you a steak and advice. This is where you can go. Visual arts. Not the only area. So, that's it. Thanks very much. I'm rapid fire today, so I have to dive off and actually go talk to the local band council about careers in the arts as well and what our program can offer. So if you don't mind, Jerry, I'll just ask if they have any quick questions.
Sure, absolutely.
And then I'll stick around for a little while, but then I have to head off. But Andrew can probably answer questions. Jerry or Renata will be able to answer questions as well for you. And if we have anybody online that has questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer them as best I can. I hope you guys got that and it wasn't so rapid fire that you were going, what's that blur of words coming across? Anybody any questions at all or any service? First year here, you'll be talking. Thanks very much. Jared, you want to?
Thanks, Gerard. I didn't do a slideshow. I feel really awful.
I didn't either, don't worry.
I know.
Yeah,
I didn't do a slideshow. We
Gerard
could do a whole slideshow, kind of an awful lot like Gerard's, because we have a lot of very successful graduates as well. I think probably one of the things that we're the most proud of is that we have such a high percentage of graduates that do go to work. That's right. Well, let me just start. Let me just give you an idea of so I can get my light. Yeah.
We're lighting designer. Drives me crazy when it's bad.
Where do our graduates work? As I said very, very quickly in my rapid fire presentation a little earlier on today, they work at every professional theater company in Newfoundland. Now, so when you're starting out, one of the wonderful things about our program is that it's almost built into our program. I don't want to say that you're assured of work when you're actually still in our program, but let me tell you about some of the things that are happening to the students that are in our program today. We have a student that just graduated from their third year in our program last year. His name is Keelan Purchase. And he was contracted to do a season at the Stratford Festival in Stratford, Ontario, which is one of the biggest theatre companies in the country, probably the biggest theatre company in the country, I would have to say. But about a third year. Now, that doesn't happen every day. That was a very fortunate event for him. But we also have an awful lot of our students that work in the theaters in our province, and there are a lot of them. We have the Grossmoran Theatre Festival, we have Grossmoran Summer Music, we have the Stephenville Festival just down the coast, we have Trinity Festival in Trinity run by Rising Tide Theatre. We have a theatre company in Gander called Beyond the Overpass. We have a theatre company in Grand Bank called the Grand Bank Theatre Company. We have another one in Cupid's called Perchance Theatre. We have all kinds of theatres in Toronto, in St. John's. And our graduates work at all of them. And our students, before they graduate, for summer work at all of them. So a good number of our students, those who want to go out and actually get work while they're doing their degree, they get work in theatre. We have a lot of our students that are working in the professional here, especially on the tech side, actually, even more so on the tech side than the actors. I know you guys are all actors, but the actors did came. But on the tech side, the theatre companies in our province are screaming for tech. So there are a lot of opportunities in this province when you're in the program or just after you graduate. There's a real good chance you'll get work acting-wise as well. We also, a lot of our students also have worked in other places in the country and are working in other places in the country. At the Stratford Festival I mentioned already, we've had how many graduates? About four or five graduates working at least at Stratford, which is it's kind of a pinnacle in theatre in Canada. So we're very proud of those folks. We've had students working at the Shaw Festival, Soul Pepper Theatre in Toronto, which is probably the most one of the most prestigious theatres in Toronto, if not the most prestigious theatre in Toronto. The production stage manager, the fella who makes sure everything technical in that company runs tickety-boo, is one of our graduates. His name is Robert Hardy. He was always in huge demand, and Soul Pepper grabbed him up and said, "We want you forever." So he's got a permanent job there, full-time job, doing very, very, very well. Cirque du Soleil. We've had a lot of our technical students that have gone off and worked, saying a lot, a few, one, two, something like that.
Something like that,
working for Cirque du Soleil, which is very exciting to see the whole world. Disney, we've had a few of our students, actors and technicians, working at Disney. Various theaters across the country. I mean, we have students that are working from Vancouver to St. John's, right across the country. But it doesn't stop just with theater. We also have students in film and TV. We have Sherry White, who is a screenwriter and has won all sorts of prestigious awards in film. We have a second-year student who just did a feature film. We actually had to give her a couple of weeks off because she was filming. She's from Cape Breton, and she did a feature film called Werewolf, which just won top honors at the Atlantic Film Festival, and she was awarded the honor of Best Actress in a feature film. So that's amazing.
Did she go to TIFF as well?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Yes, she did, and they won best film and best director as well there. So a huge success for her. We're trying to get her head out of the clouds right now, and she's being pretty reasonable about it. But a huge success for her. Who else can we talk about? We can talk about Susan Kent. I don't know if any of you ever watched 22 Minutes. You ever watched This Hour's 22 Minutes? Silence. No? Yeah? Anybody ever watch that? Susan Kent, she's the blonde girl on This Hour's 22 Minutes. So she's done very, very well for herself. Johnny Harris. Anybody ever watch Murdoch Mysteries? Anybody ever watch, Murdoch Mysteries, and what's the name of those? Still Standing? It's another series that he's got. So
Sketch comedy stuff.
Sketch
It's like
comedy
SNL, but Canadian.
Yeah. So our students go out, and if you dig and if you pursue, there are tons and tons and tons of opportunities. People keep saying, you'll never get it, you'll never stay in work if you're an actor. Well, think of all the fields that you can go into as an actor. There's film, there's television, there's stage, there's improvisation, there's animation. There's the commercial world, the world of commercial. Gerard was showing the car and saying, visual artists choose those colors. Those colors are chosen from the runways. Well, who sells those cars? Actors sell those cars. They're all actors, right? So think about it. There's a ton of work. You've got to hustle to get it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say, just sit by your phone and it's going to ring. I was telling you earlier, the ones that were in my workshop, that if you sit by the phone waiting for it to ring, nothing's going to happen. So you have to hustle out there. But we teach you how to do that as well. Let me see. We have some other students that have taken the initiative to start their own theater. We have a student by the name of Melissa Williams, who's in Toronto, who started a new theater company called Hera Productions, which is doing very, very well. We have a very successful graduate who's out in British Columbia. His name's Stephen Drover. He's run two companies. One was called Pound of Flesh, and he's now running a company called Rumble Productions, Rumble Fish. What else? Nicole Russo is another one of our graduates who's the head, the artistic director at the LSP Hall in Toronto, St. John's. And her assistant is a student of ours that graduated a few years after she did. Her name is Laura Huckle. And so those are the two top bananas over at the LSPU Hall. We've also had other people in administrative positions in St. John's. Peter Romke.
Arts and Culture Centers.
Yeah. We have another area people have gone is in politics. Jen Brown ran for the NDP candidacy for Buren. Is it Buren? Where was she from? No. I can't find it fast enough. I'm sorry. Maybe I don't even have it on here. Maybe I don't. We have had at least two graduates that have become artistic directors of the Grand Bank Festival. Mm-hmm. One of them was I have to refer to my notes because I've forgotten his name because I'm getting old. Michael Worthman.
Oh, yes,
Michael Worthman and Kevin Wardich. Yeah. Music. You know the group The Once? They won all those in the ECMAs and all kinds of awards. I can't wait for them. Have they won a Juno yet?
I don't know.
No, not yet. They will.
They definitely will. Yeah,
they've been nominated. They're beautiful, beautiful company. Geraldine Hollett and Phil Churchill of The Once. Their own three people in it. Geraldine and Phil are two of them. They're both graduates of their theater program. And if you talk to them, they will tell you that what got them into that and what gave them the confidence to do that and the creative energy to do that kind of stuff and the drive to do that kind of stuff was their time here at Grenfell in our program because we don't just teach you how to act, how to build sets, how to turn on lights. It's much more than that.
Teaches you how to walk in the world.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. It's about how we teach you how to communicate. We teach you how to be an entrepreneur. We teach you how to take the world by the scruff of the neck.
Thank you, Jerry. We appreciate that.
And say, I can do this. I can do this because we are all professionals who teach this. We've all been out in that world. We know what it takes to do it, and it takes a pretty strong human being to get out there because the competition is very competitive. It is very competitive. I'm not going to lie to you about that. The opportunities are there. What we try to teach you here is how you can take advantage of those opportunities. Because it's not just about how can I become a better artist. Well, it is kind of, but it's also about, how can I then use my skills? We help you along the way there. So it's not just about, will I get a job? It's about how can I go about getting a job as well. And we do help you with that. It's part of our program. And when you get into fourth year, we're going to take you through how do I audition? What's a good resume? What's a good resume shot? How do I do this networking thing? How do I get a job? How do I get another job? How do I create my own work? How do I get money from the government so that I can create my own work? All of that stuff is a part of it. A lot of theater schools across the country, you won't see that part of it in it. They'll teach you how to be an actor, how to be a technician, and then they go, out you go, have fun, good luck. We like to give you the skills after you leave here so that after you leave here you can do something with them and change the world, we hope. But it's not just, the obvious choices that you can do. There are so many other fields. Even if you go into something, even if you become a mechanic or a plumber after you graduate with a fine arts degree, what we teach you here that helps you are all kinds of just general skills that you can use in the workforce and that will make you think better at whatever you decide to do. Things like working as a team member and how to solve problems as a team, how to use a sense of humor, how to exercise patience and curiosity, how to be resourceful, sensitive, how to be a leader, how to manage stress. It's a big thing that we teach you here. Just trust me, there'll be a fair bit of it. Visualizing objects. Right? Being able to visualize objects. You may not think that's very important, but that can help you in a lot of different fields. Time management, multitasking, tact and diplomacy. It's a huge thing when you go out in the world. You're using it all of the time. You have to, because if you don't, it's going to be all kinds of conflict, and you don't want that kind of conflict. You want to be able to use tact and diplomacy to get things done in a gentle, kind of friendly way, so everybody's working for you and not in spite of you. Critical and strategic thinking. Synthesizing information for decision-making and problem-solving. Conflict resolution. This is a team sport, as I was saying to you earlier when we were in the theater. It's a team sport. It takes a lot of people to do this. Not just a lot of actors. It does take that as well, and you've got to work with all those people. You've got to work with them, and sometimes you don't agree. And sometimes you feel very strongly about your opinion. You've got to learn how you get that across without taking the entire project down into a big crash and burn. And then you got to work with technicians who are coming from a completely different mindset. Their concerns are very much different than yours. The ultimate concern is the same, but they're dealing with a completely different aspect. You've got to learn how to deal with those people. How many different jobs do you think you're going to go to where you have people who do this thing over here and other people who do this thing over here, and here I am here and I need something, and I got to figure out how can I utilize these people to get it. The kind of thing you learn here because it's a team sport. You learn respect for art and the artist. Your cultural sensitivity grows because you're just exposed to more of it. You learn a lot about attention to detail. And you begin to see much more detail in things. You begin to see things for what they are. You begin to walk down the hall and look at people in a different way. I was talking to the five of you again. I was talking to the five of you about when you go into the school and you're walking down the hall and there are just sort of shadows going by you. Well, that's not a great way to live life, I don't think. If you can see people and your imagination sparks and you start thinking of them as human beings, I think that makes the world a better place. We're not just objects walking up and down. We're actually human beings, and we have to start thinking more like that instead of being stuck in our little worlds with our little phones down here and not wanting anybody to look at us and not looking at any of them. I think we have to interact a bit more. That's what we teach, how to communicate. Talk about how to communicate. How much time am I running out of time? All right. Yeah. Okay. sorry, 3. Yeah, that's what I meant, 3.
But I do it to the dog, so. sorry,
Okay,
everybody.
that's all right, Gerard. Let me see. We teach you about researching. We teach you about sourcing visual and historical references, sourcing materials, sourcing tools and techniques, experimenting with tools and techniques. We teach you how to recycle. And the whole concept of recycling, and using things again and again, and there's no other industry in the world, I think, that can make a buck stretch farther than the arts. Seriously, we teach you that. So, if you are poor, you'll be able to stretch that dollar even farther. And then, of course, there's the chance, there's the pie in the sky thing. There are people that have done very, 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 very well, and they're making millions and millions and millions of bucks. A lot of artists just stay at it steadily. You've got to love it. You've got to want to do it, because if you don't want to do it and you don't hustle and bustle, because it is competitive, then you're going to have a hard time with it. What we try to instill in you here is that desire, that want, that need to do it, appreciating the value of it itself. We teach you how to express ideas, verbally and physically. There are an awful lot of people out there that if they were standing up here like me, would be mumbling and bumbling, and probably pacing around like that. Well, is that going to get you a job? I don't think so, because interviews are a big part of getting a job in any field now. So if you go through this program and you never get an acting job, you got a great chance at an interview for anything else, because you can bull your way through anything, because you're an actor. I don't actually teach here at all. I'm just an actor off the road. No, I'm kidding. So it's a great skill to have, and it will help.
My stuff for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they're leaving it.
Yeah, sure. No, Renata. I just didn't know if you had prepared anything or anything.
Yeah, I can get up and talk. Yeah.
Good. Yes, come. Then come. This is Renata. Renata Paul. No, you're not interrupting at all. I've got a big long list of things, but it's probably more than tears. So.
Well, a lot of this is mine anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Who here wants to do visual arts? Can you just raise your hand? Anyone want to do? Who's doing acting stuff? Anyone else doing anything else? Did I miss anyone? So you're either all maybe wanting to do visual or acting? Okay. I sort of bridge both worlds. My name's Renata. I actually started here as an acting student in the 90s. And then Jerry, I probably never told Jerry this. He wasn't teaching here then. But I stopped being an actor. I tried to act for about 5 years, and it was okay. I never really came into the program wanting to be an actor. I actually wanted to be a journalist. And I was very quiet. I had trouble speaking with people. Obviously, I don't anymore. That's been wiped out of me. But so I came in wanting to be a journalist and learning how to speak, and it actually taught me how to do that. I stopped acting. I got into acting. I found it enjoyable, but I stopped doing it predominantly because I didn't want to do love scenes ever with anyone. So that was a big part of it for me. I was just like, I really don't want a career where I have to go audition and kiss people. I don't know. And I realized I wanted to look at the play as a whole. And I'm also a visual person. I like to do crafty things. So for me, design was a really good link between both theater and the visual side. So there is a whole world that I would like to just address really quickly, just in case you're not aware of your options here. So there's a difference between a designer and a technician, first of all. Two very different jobs. A designer is someone who connects the script and the vision of the play as a whole with that technical stuff. So you dip your toe into both worlds. As a designer, sometimes you're doing things like painting. In this program, the designers do a bit of the painting and the building as well as the designing. So we kind of go in both sides. But it crosses over into Gerard's world. So where you show things like the Matrix and things like that, that's exactly what we do. So all those props and things like that, that's what our students build as well. So I don't know if any of you, I just recently saw Ghostbusters like a couple of days ago. Have you ever seen the new one? No. It's so good. You've got to watch it on iTunes. It's amazing. There's these 4 women doing this thing. But they're Proton packs and like all of those really great gadgets. That's the kind of stuff that we like to build in props and sort of figure out how to do those things. So a lot of the time we're talking with our students and saying, okay, we need to kind of create this object, but it's got to actually physically do this on a moving actor. So we're sort of taking the visual art and putting it into a moving person's hands. And that's really one of the major differences between the visual arts versus the theater visual arts. So I do visual art, and a lot of the students work in visual art, but within a theater context. And that theater context can be brought over then into film and TV or anything, events management, wedding planning, whatever you want. Some students go out and do that kind of stuff. So that's an option too. As well as that kind of design and building of prop stuff, it's also set pieces, so really big pieces. So we get into the carpentry aspect as well. We also get into things like rigging occasionally, where we're flying stuff in and out and doing that kind of thing. We also look at sound and lighting design. And then, of course, that very much connects into the multimedia tech connecting with visual arts as well. So that all is a stream that we look into as well and that students get exposed to here. There's also the stage management side of it, which is huge, so students can learn how to organize and actually run these things if you're interested in that. But all of these are kind of connecting ideas. And one of the things I want to also mention, because it's one of the things that I research in, I won't get into it too much, but I just want to let you know that you can go beyond what you normally think of as theater to work, to take what you've done in visual arts or theater and move beyond it. So for example, one of the things that I've done fairly recently, is I've started connecting with the space industry and the space sector. So you don't have to just do theater on Earth. I know that sounds crazy, but you can start to think beyond, as big as you want. You don't think small, like really think big, get out there and think, how can I do this? You can start thinking about, how can I act not with gravity not holding me down? How can I solve problems for scientists? What can I do for them? And so these are some of the questions that I've started thinking about in my own research, and that's what I do here on the side as well. So we don't just do things in a little theater room. We don't just do things on a canvas, right? We connect big ideas, huge ideas, things that could help solve the world. And there are a lot of problems. You might have noticed that lately. A lot of problems have come up thanks Trump and thanks all that stuff that led to Trump. That boiling pot of a crappy world, situation that we're in right now can be solved. But we need people like you to connect in really big ways. So we can start here and we can start to learn here. And we can start to work with other people, and Gehry will teach you how to communicate. Such a great skill, fantastic skill, but then you connect in a really big way. But it comes down to, what do you care about? I think that's really the key. What do you want? What do you want to do with the world, right? What do you want to do with the world, and what's your message for the world? What do you care about? What do you want to change? So you also need to start thinking about it in a social context as well. Right, so it's not just entertainment. It can be entertainment, obviously, but it can be for bigger purposes, right? So all of that you get to expose to here, and we start to discuss that, and then you build out. But that's my spiel. There you go.
Are there any questions? Do any of you
1 minute left.
any questions? Because I'm sure that if you're seriously thinking about going into the arts, there's got to be a couple of. You running?
No.
It is fun. Yes, absolutely. That's the other thing, right? Is it's great fun. It beats, well, in my books anyway, it beats sitting in the classroom and watching somebody write on a blackboard. It just beats that. But are there any questions from any of you? Because I'm sure that Andrew can answer questions and we can answer questions.
I think the last important thing to know is that if you apply to the program and you're in theater and then later on you realize that, you want to do stagecraft or visual arts, those are options too. You don't have to have a definite idea of what you want to do for the rest of this 4 years. When you get into this program, there's options for you after the fact, and being all within the same building, we work closely with the theater department, the stagecraft department, there's a lot of crossover and crossing of ideas and methodologies, and that's something that's very invited to allowing you to kind of cross these boundaries and learn from others. And then if that's something that you want to change halfway through, that's something that's totally welcome as well. So don't feel like you already have to think about what career you want to necessarily end up in. I didn't really know what I wanted to do until it was the 4th year of university, right? Like, it's something that allows you to grow, and I think one of the most important things that everyone was saying today was about creativity and that idea of discovering yourself and discovering who you are. And this program really allows you to do that in both theater, visual arts, and stagecraft. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that as well.
Yeah, and because it's such it's a small school. It's a
Yeah.
small school. We know all of our students by name.
Oh, absolutely.
Where you're not just, you know that one in that class that sits kind of third from the left there. No idea what her name is, but that doesn't happen here.
They know way too much about us, too.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. But yeah, so I like to think of this. I like to think of this program a lot more like a family, and we're trying to do for you the best that we can. We're on your side. But I tell all my students, I say, I might get mad at you, I might push you really hard, but I'm on your side, and I don't want you to ever forget that. So that's what we've got that sometimes they don't have in a bigger institution. But do you have any questions about career or anything? Are you nervous about that? Yeah? Yeah, you're still nervous about it, even after all the wonderful things I said? Yeah, well, like I said, it's I can't say that everybody that comes here is going to have success. Of course they won't. It's a lot of that success is up to you. But what we can do for you here is we can show you what it takes, what you need to do to have success, and then if you're willing to go out and do that, we can not 100% guarantee, but we can say that you're going to have a pretty good shot at success from what you learn here, if you take it and you use it.
Absolutely. And if you want to put art into space, talk to me.
But don't talk to her if you want to kiss guys on stage.
Any questions from our online? We have 2 people online as well. Do you guys have any questions? I think we're good. Okay, wonderful. That was great.